So I'm bringing in one of our top guests. He is a keynote speaker. He is a multi-millionaire. He's known for flipping over 200 houses in a year, and he's owns his own group called the Seven-Figure Flipping something about seven-figure flipping. Bill Allen, welcome, brother.
Thank you. It's good to be here, man.
Tell us, man, like, how did you get into flipping? Like, why?
Oh, that's a great question. I was active duty military. I was flying helicopters and airplanes for the Navy for a long time. I'm actually in my 20th year. I'm still a reservist right now. I did 15 years of active duty, and I was flipping one house a year. And I was looking for some extra income, like a side hustle, something that I could do to just kind of build my net worth. I've always tracked my net worth my entire life from when I was a little kid, just to try to grow it. And what I noticed was when I was in the stock market, my net worth was growing really slow. And then I had a commanding officer in college say, I bought a house at every duty station. I never lost money. So I was like, oh, cool. That sounds like a great plan. So I went to San Diego in 2006. I bought a house for $395,000. And then I sold it in 2009 for $200,000. So like $195,000 loss. And I was like, this dude's full of crap. But there was a program by the Army that bailed me out. So I basically, they paid me back as much money as if I basically sold it for what I bought it for. So it was a great program. I was very thankful to the realtor and a good friend of mine that helped me with that. But then in 2009, I bought another house. So I sold my car to put a down payment on another house. I moved in Pensacola, fixed it up. I started learning rehab, and like I read the Home Depot 1-2-3 book, like whatever that, you remember that one, or 3-2-1?
I have it right here.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I see it right down there actually now. That's hilarious.
Yeah, there it is.
So I read that book, and I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and I called my uncle who was a contractor in Maryland, and I just renovated my own bathroom. Like I just demoed the bathroom, renovated it, fixed it up, and kind of fixed up this house, and I rented it out when I left. And then I did that at some other duty stations. And what I noticed was my net worth was going up a lot more. And when I had one rental house, I was making like $500 a month. It wasn't that big of an impact, but when I had like two, it started going up faster. And then I started looking at the equity in the house, and it was building. I always have this column in my net worth tracker at that time of like, what did I do differently that month? And so then I was like, oh, it's the houses. It's the house. Like my index funds weren't really doing much. They were going up and down. I was starting to buy assets. I didn't realize it. And so then I went to Maryland, and my realtor said, if you sold this house, I was buying a rental, fixing it up, and that she helped me find, it was an auction property. And she said, if you sold this house, you can make a lot of money. She wanted a second commission, right?
Yeah.
And
obviously.
I said, okay, cool. And so we fixed it up a little bit differently, a little bit nicer than I would as a rental, and sold it, made $43,000. And I was like, that's half of my income for the entire year. Holy crap. Can I do this again? And I move a lot. I've moved 18 times in the last 20 years. So at that time, I was doing the traditional method of like finding a house with a realtor, putting 20% down on it, trying to get a conventional loan and stuff like that. I just didn't understand the secrets, like the underground of flipping houses and marketing and off-market deals. And so I replicated that the next year. I did another house. Took me 6 months, just like that, when I made $45,000. And I was like, okay, I'm an engineer. I'm pretty good at math. When you can do this once and then you can do it again, this is replicatable. And I just made almost $100,000. That was like my salary for the year. Can I do more of this? And like do more than just one a year? And so I actually joined the mastermind group that I own right now called Seven Figure Flipping. I was one of the first people to pay the guy who owned it $25,000. And I joined a mastermind group. I jumped in, paid $25,000. And he was flipping like 100 houses or more. And he said he never looks at them. And so I thought he was lying. But for some reason, I was listening to his podcast and I trusted him. The guy was just very trustworthy. He seemed like a genuine guy. And I went from never paying for a book. I had a library card. I never paid any money, and I paid $25,000. And at the time, I was like, that's an Acura. Like I just paid an Acura to somebody, and jumped in. I ended up doing 67 houses in the first 8 months. In that group. So I went from doing one house a year to 67. Then we did 135 the next year, 187 the year after that, and then about 200 houses a year every year after that. And I was able to build a multi-million-dollar company. We were doing $2.5 million while I was still active duty. Wow. And they showed me how to hire people, how to onboard people, how to train people, and how to delegate and elevate myself to get out of my own way. So that's kind of like, I started as a side hustle, and then I kept my side hustle even going while I was flying full time for the Navy. And I would fly, like, if people are thinking like, oh yeah, this guy like can make his own schedule. Like I would fly 10 or 12 hours a day, and one weekend a month I was gone. So I was working a lot flying. And when you're flying an airplane, you could not like negotiate a sale via text message or email and stuff like that. So I had to build a team around me. And then we actually moved because my son got sick. We moved to Tennessee. And so I had to actually build a team and do this remotely as well. So it was kind of all by support from somebody who had already done it and showed me the model. And I say this a lot. I feel like I had like, if you think about a puzzle, like I had all the puzzle pieces, I just didn't know how to put it together. And I feel like a lot of people are like that. Like they have all the pieces, like it's all free. Like they can go out on YouTube, they can read the books, they do all stuff, but they just don't know that there's an art to putting it together. And so they showed me how to put it together, and it was really cool. And I think, obviously I ended up buying the company from my mentor, like almost 3.5 years ago. It's been awesome. Like I'm like the hair club for men guy. I'm like, not only am I the president and the owner, I'm also a client. So it's kind of cool.
Bill, that is probably the best story I've ever had when I asked that question, because that also gave so much insight into actually like the process to going from one house a year to 68 and then stepping up. And then what you also give is a little bit of belief, like, hey, you can actually do 200 houses a year. Like it is possible. You're not doing that many houses now because you're doing more on the multifamily side. You're getting into syndications. You're doing large apartments now. When you're coming to the summit, you have a talk that you're known for doing, and you've been really practicing us on like big stages, like Russell Brunson's stage, the hero's journey. And I think that's a lot of what has made you successful, which is why you're so obsessed with it. And I think that's one of the challenges that people are having right now is they don't understand their client and how to work with them. What can somebody who's coming to the summit for the first time, has never seen the 100 Millionaires Summit, they haven't become a millionaire, they're on the journey to become a millionaire themselves. What is one of the biggest values about learning the hero's journey in your mind?
Yeah. So what I do want to say is 200 houses, about 80% of those were wholesale deals. So is anybody out there like bean counting and is like, this guy's like renovating and fixing up 200 houses a year? I wasn't. I was probably like 40 or 50 houses of like renovations or wholesales. The rest were wholesale deals where we just assigned the contract. So I want to make that clear so people don't think I'm like a total magical unicorn, like fully flipping 200 houses a year.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yeah. While we do have some people in my group doing that. I was not one of them. And I'm much better wholesaler than I am a house flipper, which I realized after the fact. So the hero's journey, when we really think about this, so I've spent a lot of time. I've studied this for like 3 years. And when I look back on all of my stories, and the one I just told about going from one house a year to 67 houses, when my mentor, so this guy's name's Andy McFarland. It was Justin Williams and Andy McFarland that started this business. And I got on a call with Andy McFarland. If you don't know who he is, he's one of a very large scale wholesaler, an amazing guy, just one of my total role models in life. And to get to still work with him today, he came along and stayed with me in the company when I bought it. It's magical. So he said to me, he's like, I got sold on this group because of process and systems. And being an engineer, I was like, oh man, they got systems. So they have systems to do 100 houses a year. I don't have any systems. I need systems. So I get on a call with him and I'm like, hey, how do I go from, I wanted to do 12. My goal was to do 12 houses the first year. And
that would be good for a lot of people right now. 12 houses totally. would crush it. Yeah.
But here's the interesting thing. I wanted to go from 1 to 12 and I went from 1 to 67, but it doesn't happen like that, right? So it's not a light switch. It's an arc that happens. And so the first call that I had, I think it will resonate with a lot of people who are just getting started. The first call that I had with him was, we get on the call and I'm like, all right, wholesaler, big wholesaler, like, how do I do this? Just give me the systems. Like, you got it. Give me the book, give me the manual, just give it to me. He's like, all right, what are you doing now? And what do you want to do? I said, well, I'm driving to the house every day. I'm checking it out. Contractors don't show up. So then on my way home from work, I'm there all the time. And then on the weekends, I'm there. And I'm just like, it's taking me 6 months to get one project done, 3 months to get it done. Then I put it on the market, and I sell it, and then I get the money, and then I go do another one. He's like, well, and what do you want? And I said, I want more time. I want my time back. I want to spend time with my family. I have a newborn. I want to be with him. That's what all this is for. And he's like, all right, well, it sounds like you got to hire some people. And I was like, no, I'll do anything but that. Like, I'm not hiring anybody. I don't want to be responsible for anybody else's family. I don't want to be responsible for food on their table to get them. No, I'm just not doing that. Anything else I'll do. You have the systems. Give me the systems. Like, give me the systems, dude. That's not a system. Just give me the systems. And he's like, all right, well, so it's taking you 6 months right now. You want to do 12 houses a year, but you want to do it by yourself. And so he's like, why don't you get off this call and think about it? He showed me his team. He's like, I got a team of, 15 people. This person does this person does this, all this stuff. And he's like, I work 2 hours a week in my company and we do $3 million a year or something at that time. And I was like, I got off that call. A week later, I was like, fine, I'll do it. Like, I get back on a call with him. I was like, I'll do it. I'll hire somebody. Show me how to do it. Tell me what to do. What kind of ad should I put out? Who should I look for? All that stuff. Put an ad up on Craigslist, hire somebody. They quit in a week. She's actually moving. Her husband was moving. She didn't really quit. Her husband was moving to another state. And she's like, I can't keep working here after training for a week. So I'm like, all right, this doesn't work. And then I said, you know what? I need to get back up, get back on the horse. And then I hired my first employee, I would say. And her name was Dee Dee, and she absolutely killed it for me. And it took a second hire for me to even get my first deal. It took me almost 4 months, 4.5 months, actually, it took me to get my first deal. Wow. And I was paying salary, payroll, marketing, all this stuff for a long period of time. But I had the belief, like, if he could do it, I could do it. So when I look back on that story, I built a company. I have like 30 people that work for me in 7-figure flipping right now. Blackjack Real Estate is another company that I own. And we have like 10, 12 people. I had like 20 some people at one point. And people like are amazing for me. I have teams. I have people. I hire people to do just about anything these days. But at that time, I needed that shift. I needed that change. There was something going on inside of me that was not willing to do that. And so when I look back, all my success was based on that decision that I made to say yes to the thing that I was most afraid of. And so that's when I started looking at this Heroes 2 journeys. And I'll talk about it more this time. I don't want to give away too much about it.
Right.
But we're on, like, if you're just getting started and you're trying to become a millionaire, or you just want to take those first couple steps, like, here's why you should come to the summit. Every hero needs to leave their place of comfort, of ordinary world. They need to leave that place to go to the supernatural world where it's different. There's people that think like them, that act like them, that talk like them. The problem is, you've probably heard it a million times, you surround yourself with the wrong people that hold you back instead of push you forward and lift you up. And so those people will be at the summit. And so you need to actually leave. Most people don't go to live events because they're like, oh, is there, like, can I just watch it from home? Can I just watch a YouTube video? Can I just read this book? Like, can I just do these things? And they don't take action and move into action from it, because you actually have to leave your ordinary world. So I tell people, when you're at a virtual event, it's great. Like, when you're in there, you're getting all this information and knowledge, but you turn your computer off, you go back to your ordinary world. You go back to your home. You go back to your family, the people which are usually the people that say you can't sometimes, right? Instead of going to this place where there's all these other millionaires there that are doing it, and you're looking around, you're going, man, I feel really good here. This feels normal. This is the kind of people I want to be around. And so every hero has left their place of ordinary world. So if you look at like Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, right? He had to leave to go meet Yoda, who was his guide, right?
He left this whole planet.
He had to leave the planet. Like, you just have to get on an airplane or just get in your car and drive to the conference center, right? And so I also look at like Shrek is one of my favorite ones to talk about in this journey. So I love movies. I love taking this from movies and story and things like that. So Shrek had to leave the swamp, right? He had to leave the swamp to go rescue the princess to really figure out his journey, his identity change. You look at Moana. Moana is another one that I absolutely love. I love Disney movies. So Moana had to leave her island to go find Maui and go restore the heart, right? And so if you look at any movie, they have to leave their ordinary world. So I'll tell you, that's why you come to events like this. You leave your ordinary world, you go into a place that's a supernatural world, and you start seeing what's possible. You start seeing what's possible, and seeing becomes believing. And if you can see other people, then you say, that person can do it, I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. You get into a state of belief change. And that belief change creates action. And that action starts creating results. And so there's a lot of things that happen here inside of us when we go to events like this, or we go from our place of comfort. Like, if you're comfortable right now, and you're watching this and you want more, there's a problem. Like comfort breeds, when we get comfortable, it breeds like inaction, and it actually starts creating regression, but you don't even really realize it, and atrophy. So I'd say like you got to stay in motion. So leaving your place or your ordinary world, go to supernatural world is important. And what you're going to get there, like I'm telling you, you won't know what you're going to get. Like if you knew what you needed to do, you'd already be doing it. So you have to go to places like this, and you have to listen to people that you've never even heard of before, probably like me. Like if you're watching, you probably have no idea who I am. That's cool.
Well, now they know who Bill Allen is, right? 7-figure flipping, 200 homes a year, like, you know,
well, I actually hope
wholesale.
I actually love when I'm in a room, like I was on Russell's stage at 5,000 people there, right? If I said, how many people in this room know who I am? It would be like the front row of like 15 people that are in my mastermind group with me, and my staff and my family, and the rest of them don't. And like, honestly, I like walking into that sometimes better, because I've got a message for you that you need to hear. And everyone needs this message, which is really cool. So in working on this presentation and working on this concept and working on everything that I've started to talk about in this side of things, it's really the belief in the identity change that needs to happen inside of us. There's an actual like process to it, and you can actually see that and say, oh, I know where I am on the cycle, and I know what I need to do next. And that's where a lot of people, they just don't know where they are. They're kind of lost. So if you're feeling lost, I would say you need to come to this event. You leave your ordinary world, come to this crazy, fun, supernatural world where all these people are like talking about being a millionaire and like openly talking about it. And honestly, they don't even look like it, because I'll probably be in like t-shirt and jeans, and you wouldn't even recognize the fact that I might have some money in the bank or a bunch of assets. And they're not flaunting it. They're not, it's just really cool. And you'll feel comfortable, and you'll feel normal there, and you'll feel this shift and this change in this belief. So I don't know, long conversation, but I say, I don't know why you wouldn't come. If you don't want to come, it's probably because you're not serious about becoming a millionaire. That's cool. Just stop saying you want it if you're not willing to do the work that it takes to go get it.
100%. Bill, that is the best advice that you give anybody right now is, look, stop saying you want to be a millionaire if you're not going to like show up and do the things that make you a millionaire. You got to ask the mentors. You got to surround yourself with people who are successful, who are on their way to do it. Bill Allen, everyone, if you haven't already started following him, go follow him on Facebook, follow him on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, and start learning like who he is, what he's about. He's going to be dropping some serious bombs at the 100 Millionaires Summit this year, October 21st to 23rd. Be in the room. This is a talk that I plan on sitting in the room watching myself. In fact, I'm so inspired what Bill's doing. I'm doing everything I can to move my calendar around so I can be at his event this week, this upcoming week, to be at the 7-figure flipping 3-day event, just so I can see again like how he works with his clients, his students, his community. How many members are in 7-figure flipping, by the way? I know there's going to be like 700 people at the event itself.
Yeah, we've actually just gone over 800 tickets, so we might have 1,000. We might hit 1,000. I've been hoping to change 1,000 people's lives this year. That's the kind of conversation I've been having for our event. But we have about 300 people in our mastermind. We have about 4 different mastermind groups, so about 300 members, anywhere from never having flipped their first house to doing 10 million or more a year.
Crazy. I absolutely love it. Bill, thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing here, building millionaires. You are an alchemist. You have that abundant mindset. You're paying it for other people. You've gone already through your journey. You've gone through the fire to forge yourself into somebody who can actually touch others' lives and change them. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, man, for being there with us at the event, for taking this call and doing this with us. Is there one last piece you want to say to everybody who's listening, who's going to be coming to the event to see you?
Yeah, I do. I want to say thank you to you, because I'm going to tell you, if you guys are watching this, you don't understand. We run a lot of events. A lot goes into this. It's not easy. It's not easy to put yourself out there. It's not easy to go out and create a movement and create impact for other people and change other people's lives. There's a lot of struggle that goes along with that. There's a lot of financial burden, financial stress, and just overall like personal, honestly, like identity stress and things like that. Like, can I do this? Am I the person? But when you get this calling to do this thing and you say yes, and you put yourself out there to a lot of people that love you, people that don't like you, people that are in the middle, like it's really impressive. So I'll say, like, look, I see you online. I see what you're doing. I actually reached out to you and I was like, hey, can I help you? And we got connected last year. It was amazing to meet you and just stay connected, keep watching. And it's really, really impressive. And so I just want to say, like, we don't get a lot of thank yous. A lot of times we get some, but not nearly enough. So I'll say thank you to you. And if anybody's watching this, like, there's a lot that goes into this stuff, right? The best advice I can give you is the team spends a lot of time putting an event like this together. Show up, pay attention, listen, like, and be a good student. I've made a lot of money over my lifetime, especially in this industry, just being a good student and watching what other people do and listening and taking advice from those that have already forged the way for me. So thank you for that. And if you're watching this and you're like on the fence of coming, just go. Like, there's nothing that should stop you from saying yes. If you're called to do this and you say that this is my next step, like, don't wait till next year. Don't wait till next month. Like, it's coming up in just a couple weeks. Just say yes and go. Like, change things around, readjust things. Should figure out a way. Yeah, figure out a way. There you go. Or
just say yes.
They'll just pay you to go. So seriously, I'll leave it with that. Like, thank you for what you do. And usually you probably don't get nearly enough of those. And so if you guys are out there and Walter and his team have helped you, make sure that they get that. They'll say that they don't need it, but they do. Like, they really do. And that's what drives us and pushes us and gets us to continue to go. It's your success and it's gratitude and appreciation, because we do this really for growth and contribution at that point. Once you've made it, growth and contribution are the key. And when you move into that phase of life, it's just amazing to see what happens. And it's hard. It's not easy.
Mic drop, man. Thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate you. For everybody who's coming to the summit, cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best. We'll see you on the next one. See you at the top.